The first years of Bridget and Patrick's life together could be defined in one word: happiness. How else could it be? They got married out of great love, were young, beautiful, well-educated. They were a model young family. For an entire year, they walked around holding hands with shining eyes, pleasing people around them. At the end of the year, the love had not disappeared, but now it was more mature and sincere. At the end of the year, the love had not disappeared, but now it was more mature and sincere. They were no longer glowing because their dream had come true. They just enjoyed being happy. But in the second year of their marriage, Bridget was troubled by a pressing question. Why don't they have children? Everything was going the way it should, but she couldn't get pregnant. The first thing she did was to tell her husband about her worries, but he only said, "Oh, come on, Bridget. I do not see any problem. Pregnancy does not always happen so quickly. I recently read a story about a couple who had been married for 20 years and had stopped thinking about having children. And she suddenly got pregnant, and it was already time for mom to retire."
No, Patrick, I don't want it that way, and I don't want to know who you read about, but everything has to be on time. And if both husband and wife are healthy and living well, the pregnancy should happen. I guess I'll have to go to the doctor, the girl concluded.
"That's right. You should take care of your health, although I'm sure the doctors will tell you the same," her husband said. And he was right. After the examination, the doctor told Bridget that everything is fine, and the pregnancy could happen any time. The doctor gave several medical recommendations and also said, "The main thing is to avoid stress. At your age, there is simply nothing to worry about. If pregnancy could happen on demand, why would there be any need for doctors?" Bridget returned home in high spirits and began waiting again, but to no avail. She still could not get pregnant. By the end of the third year of their marriage, children had become her obsession. She became a regular visitor to various hospitals and convinced her husband to have a checkup. Both were fine, but there was no results. Gradually, Bridget's whole life was devoted to trying to get pregnant. Even their intimate life changed. At first, Patrick saw it as an oddity. Then, he was sympathetic to his wife, and soon, inevitably, began to annoy the man. "I'm sick of it. I feel like I'm some kind of stallion whose only purpose is to breed. Now everything is on schedule. She even printed that schedule. I hear only one thing. Today is an auspicious day, but tomorrow is not. I don't even want to tell you the other details. It's disgusting. Sometimes I can't function normally because she forces me into bed as if I was a dog that is only needed for her offspring," he complained to his brother. "Yes, it is really annoying. Usually, people have other problems. They try to avoid unplanned pregnancies, and you have it the other way around. Well, she'll get pregnant and calm down. In the meantime, find another woman, not for babies, but for fun," his brother advised. "Do you think so? I guess you're right, and then we'll see how life works out," he replied to his brother's advice. And soon, Nancy came into Patrick's life. No, this was not some cliche mistress, not a young, long-legged, stupid hottie. She was a serious and intelligent woman, the same age as Patrick, but she was very lonely. She had no husband or children, which was strange. One day, Patrick asked his mistress why she had never been married.
"That's the way fate worked out. I don't know. The story is trivial, though. In my first year of university, I fell in love with a professor. Well, obviously, he was married. Well, I did not even have much hope that he would marry me. I didn't even think about it. I loved him, and that was it. Our romance lasted several years, until the new first-year girls showed up. End of story," she replied.
"So, didn't you find anyone else?" the man asked.
I found you, and you're married too. That's my fate. I wonder how long you will stay with me. I fell in love with you, you know," confessed the mistress. "I love you too, Nancy, and would love to be together forever. But I can't leave my wife now." "Well, it's a trivial story, but my ex used to justify himself with children by saying he couldn't leave his 2 children. He had twins. And you don't even have kids. If you had kids, I wouldn't be with you. But I could give you a baby. Don't you want children?"
the girl asked.
"I do, of course, but that's not the main goal," Patrick answered reluctantly.
He was tired of talking about children at home. He needed Nancy for pleasure, for a break from family problems and his wife's eternal anxieties. Meanwhile, he wasn't going to leave Bridget, but he was very happy with Nancy too. Apparently, because of her experience living with a married man, Nancy knew how to behave. She had no demands, understood everything, did not call at inappropriate times, and was not eager to go out in public places. And at the same time, she tried to make every date a small but memorable holiday. But sometimes there was hope and questions about the future together. Patrick tried to put out these outbursts, trying not to offend Nancy or give her new hope. At first he succeeded, but as time went on, his relationship began to stress him out. He constantly felt guilty before 2 women, and he had feelings for both of them.
Cheating on one woman, giving unreasonable hopes to another woman? How disgusting it is to feel like a bastard,"
he said to the brother who had given such valuable advice.
"Everything disgusts you lately. Millions of men live the same way and are happy, so don't worry about it. When Bridget gives birth, she won't give a damn about your cheating, even if she finds out. And Nancy will get tired of this kind of life, and she'll find herself a single man. Just make sure she doesn't get pregnant first,"
his brother replied. Patrick could not find understanding in such a difficult situation and decided to follow his brother's advice again and leave everything as it was. And he made up for the guilt to his women with small pleasant gifts and care. He realized that in this way he strengthened the hopes of his mistress, but he thought that she should understand him. But she understood it in her own way, considering these gifts and caring to be proof that he was serious about their future together.
"Darling, I really expect you to make a decisive move. After all, it can't be like that forever. Or do you hope to keep things as they are?"
she said sometimes.
"What are you talking about? Aren't we happy together without divorces and marriages?" "We are happy, but you know I'm turning 30 soon, a significant milestone for every woman. I want some kind of clarity. And it's time to think about children. If I don't have a baby now, I never will."
"Damn children again," Patrick thought irritably, and hurried to turn the conversation into a more pleasant direction.
"Oh, so your anniversary's coming up. When are we going to celebrate? What do you want for your birthday?" "I don't even dream of you giving me your heart, but I still have hope," Nancy replied.
"Okay, I'll think about that," Patrick promised. Nancy brightened up noticeably. She expected a change in her life. A few days later, a friend called her, also asking about her upcoming birthday.
"Nancy, your birthday's coming up. Where are you going to celebrate, and who are you going to invite?" "Sorry, Mary. I'm not inviting anyone. It's going to be a private party for 2 people. It will be a big day for me. Later, we'll celebrate it together. Maybe not only my birthday, but something else, too." "No way. Oh, Nancy, congratulations. Are you talking about that married man? Has he really decided to leave his wife?"
her friend asked.
"I don't know anything yet. I'm not entirely sure, but there is hope. In any case, our relationship has reached the finish line. He'll definitely have to choose."
She planned her birthday party, bought a new dress and lingerie, planned the menu, and set the table.
"Let him see that I'm not just a beautiful woman, but also a good housewife who can cook delicious food and make the house cozy. And I will tell him about my main surprise later, when I know he's ready for the next step. Well, if he's not, what can I do? I'll have to break up with him. I'll live alone. It's all right. I've waited too long,
the girl thought. Patrick was getting ready too. He wasn't planning to propose to Nancy or confess to his wife that he was cheating, but he had to give her some meaningful gift. A heart? Okay. So he picked out the Heart of the Ocean necklace at the jewelry store, a replica of the one from the Titanic movie, a big, deep blue heart framed by small, shiny stones. They weren't sapphires or diamonds, but still, it wasn't the cheapest gift. And the main thing is that it was beautiful. Perhaps it would comfort poor Nancy, who dreamed of marital bliss. When he came to Nancy, he saw a table set with candles, but only for 2 people. When Patrick handed her a magnificent bouquet, he was slightly surprised.
No other guests?
The man asked. It was no surprise. He was not the kind of guy a girl would want to introduce to friends and relatives. Still, he was a little afraid of the serious conversation, and so he would have been glad if Nancy had invited someone else.
No, just the 2 of us. I don't want to see anyone else. It's my birthday.
Congratulations, my love, Patrick said and handed Nancy the box with the main gift. She opened it and gasped with delight.
Oh, it's wonderful, Patrick. Honey, thank you. I'll always wear it.
Even when you're not wearing anything else? He asked playfully.
Absolutely. But for now, sit down at the table. Let's drink to my new life and my happiness.
The woman invited Patrick to the table. The dinner was wonderful. Nancy did everything perfectly, but Patrick was pleased that she didn't try to talk about their future together. That could have ruined the party. Delicious food, champagne, and music made them forget about any serious conversations. And so it happened. Sweet talk at the table, a slow dance, and 1 hour in bed should have completely calmed Nancy down. But it turned out she had her own plans. They were lying cuddled together when the woman picked up her beautiful pendant by its chain. She twirled it and said,
"The heart of the ocean. But I was hoping I would get your heart."
"It's yours forever," Patrick whispered.
Forever? Are you going to get up and go home now?
The girl asked sadly.
Nancy, why ruin such a lovely night?
The man tried to evade the question.
Do you mean you have nothing to say? Did you talk to your wife? Did you make a decision?
Nancy asked in a harsh voice, sitting down on the bed. Patrick sat down too.
Well, my love, my sunshine, please try to understand me. I can't do this. We've been together for 7 years. I can't leave her, he spoke pleadingly. And it's the 2nd year you've been fooling me, and you're willing to continue because it's not a big deal to you. When did I ever fool you?
He asked and began to dress, realizing that the pleasant part of the evening was over.
Well, you're a big girl. You knew everything from the beginning, and I didn't make any promises to you. After all, I'm with you. What else do you want? With me?
Nancy clarified and got up too, putting on her robe.
Are you going to keep coming to me in your spare time and then go to your lovely barren wife?
Stop it, Nancy.
Yes, to my wife. The fact that she can't have a baby doesn't make her worse. It just makes her more vulnerable. I can't leave her. It would be too cruel, he replied with anger. Then leave me. Get dressed and go away. It would not be cruel to me, but fair. Honey, please don't, Patrick said plaintively.
After all, he didn't want to lose Nancy.
I'm sick of it. I don't want these rare secret dates anymore. That's it. Get dressed and leave, the girl said confidently. All right, Nancy. I'll leave now. I hope you think about everything and calm down. I'll call you tomorrow. Don't even try. If you ever come into my life again, I'll tell your wife everything. If you can't make a decision, let her do it. I'm not the only one who has to suffer, his mistress threatened him.
Now that was something Patrick was seriously afraid of. If Bridget finds out about it, it will be no way out of this drama.
Calm down, honey. I'll do whatever you want. I won't call. But I'll look forward to hearing from you, all right? Said Patrick hopefully.
Perhaps Nancy was tired of this conversation and said nothing. Patrick glanced at the pendant gleaming on her chest and said with a smile,
"It really suits you. I'll wait for your call, my love." "Don't expect that. Goodbye forever," the woman said,
slammed the door and walked into the room, and lay face down on the bed, which still kept Patrick's warmth.
"It's over. I'm not gonna cry. Last time I cried, and then I started calling him, groveling. No, I'm done. Maybe I should call his wife. I should just tell her everything. Why do I have to suffer alone? No, I shouldn't do something like that. It won't help me. But it would spoil the impression of me. At least he'll remember me without anger and maybe with regret,"
she thought, trying not to cry. Then Nancy got out of bed, called the landlord, and told him she was moving out in a week. That same evening, she began packing. Heading home that night, Patrick thought it wasn't over with Nancy.
"No doubt Nancy will calm down and call me. Maybe not tomorrow, but in a few days. And why was she so angry? She's a mature woman. She must understand everything. It's not the first time this has happened to her. Well, okay, the first lover left for a younger girl, but I wouldn't do that. Well, her fate is hard, but my fate isn't any easier," Patrick thought.
At home, Bridget asked without suspicion because she trusted her husband.
"Why so late, darling?"
It's Mr. Connolly's anniversary. I told you, I had to come and congratulate him."
"Did you drink?"
the wife asked.
"Just a shot. I'm not drunk."
"You shouldn't drink today. It's an auspicious day."
"Oh, God," Patrick thought and replied.
"Come on. There will be many more auspicious days."
"Not many, but I feel like our dream is about to come true,"
his wife said with a smile.
"But you don't look cheerful. I mean, you were at the party. Is everything all right?"
"Mr. Connolly turned 60. Obviously there was no dancing."
The man lied, thinking about something else. Patrick's dream was a call from Nancy. He didn't call himself, thinking that he was keeping his promise and giving the woman a chance to calm down and think things over. But what he really feared was that if he called her, Nancy would find a way to tell Bridget everything as she had promised. He had no idea how it would end. But Nancy didn't call for a day, 2 days, a week. Patrick didn't expect he would miss her so much. Besides, he didn't expect Nancy to leave him so easily. Eventually, he couldn't stand it and decided to call her first. But the phone was off. He drove up to Nancy's house, waiting to see her. No, the woman was not there, and there was no light in the windows. One evening, when he drove to her house, he saw the lights were on, so he decided to ring the doorbell. Some stranger opened the door and said, "There's no Nancy here. We rented this place last week. I have no idea who lived here before."
"Oh, so she even moved out. But if she thought I was going to look all over the city for her, I'm not going to do that," Patrick thought angrily.
He didn't try to find Nancy, though it wasn't easy to forget her. The man had been depressed for some time, having no idea how to cope with the situation. But Bridget's dream finally came true, and it helped. A few months later, she told her husband she was finally pregnant. The couple's excitement was boundless. Waiting for the baby made him forget Nancy. Patrick cherished his wife, thanked her for a long patience, and worried about her and the baby. Alas, Joy was premature. In the 5th month, Bridget lost her baby and almost died herself. Doctors said that after that, she should forget about a baby. Bridget would never become a mother. This news plunged the woman into despair for a long time and almost ruined the family.
"I still don't understand why you still live with me. I'm a defective woman. I can't even give you a baby. Find another woman before it's too late,"
she said to her husband.
"It's too late. I already love you. There's only one woman in my world. The others do not exist for me. Believe me, in all the years we've been together, I've never thought of another woman," Patrick answered.
Bridget had no idea that her husband was thinking of another woman at that moment. Half-dressed, disappointed with a pendant on her chest, the one he had lost forever. But Patrick chased those thoughts away. At this moment, he really loved only his wife. Miserable, but still the most beloved. He comforted Bridget as best he could, but it was too difficult. Patrick even wanted to give up. Not because he wanted children, he just didn't have the strength to look at his tormented wife anymore. But he couldn't leave her like that either. Finally, her husband's care and attention worked. Bridget began to come to her senses, and the couple accepted their childlessness and began to live for each other. But after 5 years, they thought about the need to make sense of their existence.
Let's adopt someone. A little boy about 5 years old. I mean, that would be great. We have everything, and everything is great. But no kids. I wish we had someone to call us Mom and Dad,
Bridget suggested. Patrick couldn't accept the idea seriously right away. He even talked his wife out of it.
Bridget, darling, we will never be able to love someone else's child the way that we can love a biological child. Besides, we don't know what kind of person he will be when he grows up. Heredity is very important. Stop it. People get a dog and in a month they can't live without it. It becomes a family member, and we are talking about a baby. Heredity? What heredity do we have? We do not have royal roots. Do you know many of your ancestors? I only know some names, and I have no idea what kind of people they were.
They discussed it for a long time, and finally Patrick agreed. Adopting turned out to be a long process. The couple had to explain to psychologists the reason for their decision, attend foster parent school, and read many instructions. But finally, they were invited to the orphanage to meet the children. They were going to adopt a boy, so they did not look at the girls at first. But Patrick's attention was caught by a little girl sitting alone in the corner. He didn't know why his heart skipped a beat when he saw her. He walked over to the girl, sat down next to her, and spoke to her.
What's your name, kiddo? Kate.
The girl answered, raising her big blue eyes to him.
So why are you sitting alone and not playing with anyone? Do you have friends here?
The man asked.
I don't fight with anyone, but when we play together, I get sad. They talk about their families and I have no one,
replied the little girl sadly.
But the other ones don't have anyone either since they live here,
Patrick replied.
No, but they had parents before. They remember them. Neil had a daddy who drove a car, and Kristen still has a mom. She even visited her. But that was a long time ago. Lizzie and Max are brother and sister, and their grandmother comes to see them on the weekends. And I don't have anyone,
the girl said regretfully. Bridget walked up to them, interested in this conversation. As the couple walked out, she said,
Sweet girl, but I thought we were going to adopt a boy.
No, Bridget, we'll adopt this girl or no one. It was the first time that he had spoken to his wife so firmly and bossily.
Whatever you say, honey. I don't mind. I like this girl too. She's pretty and smart. Let's get some information about her. Maybe her parents will show up someday. That's my greatest fear.
It turned out that Kate really had no one. Her mother died in childbirth. Her father is unknown, and there are no other relatives. They initiated the adoption process. However, it took 8 months to take Kate home. By this time, they considered Kate as a family member. They often visited the girl, gave her gifts, went for walks with her, and at the same time, they prepared a room for her in the house. And finally, Kate entered her new home with her parents.
Will we always live here like a real family?
The girl asked, not believing her happiness.
Well, we are a real family, aren't we?
Daddy Patrick replied.
Finally, we're together,
Mom Bridget responded, and taking her daughter's hand, began to twirl in a dance with her. The happy family began to live together. Day by day, the parents loved their daughter more and more, discovering new and even more wonderful traits in her.
You're astute, Patrick. You were the one who first noticed Kate. I was looking at the boys. I didn't even want to think that we could adopt someone else. It's like she's our biological daughter. I even think she looks like you,
his wife added cheerfully.
You know, I looked at her because I saw you and her. She was sitting alone in the corner, just like you were sitting at the window in hard times, sad and lonely. I mean, she looked just like you. And now, too, when she's cheerful or interested in something,
I love you so much, my dear girls.
It was hard not to love Kate. The girl was not only pretty, but smart, and sometimes too serious for her age. She loved her parents and her new home, and was happy to help her mother with household chores. It was fun to discuss any topic with her and to watch her grow up. Kate went to school. From the very first days, she showed her best side. Even those who knew that the girl was adopted soon forgot about it. That's how much she looked like her parents. She loved them very much. So 3 more years passed in love and happiness. Bridget's birthday was coming up, and the family decided to celebrate it together, without guests. They loved to spend time together and planned to have dinner and then go for a walk in the park nearby in the evening. Patrick went to the jewelry store to choose a gift for his beloved wife. His attention was drawn to the beautiful earrings, deep blue drops, framed by small shiny gems. This jewelry suddenly reminded him of a pendant that he had once given to another woman.
I wonder how Nancy's doing. I haven't seen her in years. Probably she got married, living happily. At least I hope so. Did she throw away my pendant? Those earrings would look perfect with that pendant, the man thought.
He bought his wife the earrings. She would be happy for sure. On his way home, he bought a big, beautiful bouquet. A cheerful Kate opened the door.
Daddy, come to the table. Mom and I already have set the table. She made a beautiful cake, and I helped her. I made a salad and decorated it myself. Look at it,
the girl said.
Will you show me what you're going to give her? But no, don't. We'll look at it together later.
Patrick walked into the room where his wife was fixing something on the table.
Just a minute. Everything's almost ready.
She turned around, took the bouquet, and held it to her chest.
Oh, it's beautiful. Thank you, dear. Kate, bring the vase, please. Happy birthday, my love. There is no one more beautiful than you today. And here's a gift for you. I hope you like it.
He gave her the box, and she opened it and gasped.
It's wonderful.
Kate ran up with the vase and said,
Show it to me too. No way. Mom, how did Dad know you needed earrings like that? He and I gave you the jewelry with the same blue stones. Look, Daddy.
Only now Patrick noticed a pendant on Bridget's chest. The same one as he had given to Nancy years ago. It couldn't have been a coincidence. He shivered in fever. He could barely hear what his wife and daughter were saying. Something about the pendant. It was a gift from Kate. Over dinner, Patrick calmed down a bit.
Well, yes, the pendant is very similar. Probably the same as the one I gave my mistress. But it was custom made. But after a famous movie, this type of jewelry was very popular. Except, where could Kate have gotten such a pendant? It's not that cheap, the man thought.
He didn't want to ask about it at the table. He decided to postpone these conversations for later. He barely waited until dinner was over. Only when he put Kate to bed, he asked where a child could get such an expensive pendant.
Good thing you didn't ask about it in front of Kate. It was her mother's pendant. She died. Good thing you didn't ask about it in front of Kate. It was her mother's pendant. She died in childbirth. She was wearing this jewelry, and they kept it. And when we took the girl home, they gave it to her. After all, it was the last memory of our girl's biological mother. And so she kept it all these years. And today, she decided to give it to me. So sweet. It's as if she's finally accepted me as her mother. And indeed, it looks great with these earrings. Thank you, my love.
Who was her mother? Do you know anything about her? The husband asked.
No, people at the orphanage said she was a good, decent single woman. It must be true since she gave us such a beautiful girl. They showed me the birth certificate. Her name was Nancy. I don't remember the last name. It doesn't matter. Why are you getting so nervous?
Bridget asked, confused. Patrick covered his face with his hands.
Nancy?
He matched the dates and got dizzy.
So that's why my heart raced when I saw Kate. Nancy's her mother. And I'm the father. Nancy's dead. But why didn't she say anything about pregnancy?
The man thought.
Honey, are you okay?
The wife wondered.
Well, yes, the story is sad, even tragic. But it ended well for us, and for Kate too. Please stop. You're scaring me.
I'm sorry, Bridget. I'm sorry. The story is really too complicated. Do you still have any papers from the orphanage?
No, they didn't give them to me because we adopted Kate. She's our daughter now.
Yes, sure, she's our daughter. I'm sorry this story made me feel uneasy. It's just really sad. Okay, now let's go to bed.
He decided that he had to find out the truth, but he didn't have to tell his wife. He had to find out the truth first. It was possible that some terrible coincidence had happened, something that only happens in soap operas.
Nonsense. Nancy's still alive. She wasn't pregnant. Kate is not my daughter. But tomorrow, I will have to go to that orphanage and find out everything, he decided.
In the morning, Patrick called the office and took the day off, and went to the orphanage to find out something about the girl's biological mother. Yes, Nancy was the girl's mother. Kate was conceived around the time that their affair was coming to an end, but it was obvious to Patrick that he was the father of Nancy's daughter. To dispel any doubts, he decided to take a DNA test. Finding out how to do that without attracting anyone's attention, the man got the answer he already knew. What should he do now? He had to tell Kate somehow that she was his biological daughter.
Maybe not now, a little later, when she's older. What about Bridget? Should I tell her now or later? And if she does find out, how will she take it? I mean, we're family. Kate needs to know she's living with her biological father. And Bridget has a right to know the truth too. Yeah, she won't be happy about it, but it shouldn't be a big deal after all these years. Besides, now we have a daughter because of that very adultery. I must confess and beg forgiveness and tell her everything,
the man had decided. He made his mind up, but how could he tell his wife? He postponed this conversation many times, but one day he couldn't stand it. When he and Bridget were home alone, Patrick asked his wife to sit down and put in front of her the results of the DNA test.
Bridget, it took me a long time to confess, but I can't hide it anymore. I hope you'll understand. It's like a miracle. I couldn't believe it myself, the man began the conversation.
What happened? Just tell me. Have you decided to leave me and Kate?
His wife asked, frightened.
Oh, God, no. How can I leave you? Are you crazy? That's not what this was about. It just so happens that Kate is my biological daughter, Patrick said confidently. What do you mean? Then who's her mother, and why?
Bridget wasn't ready for this news, was confused, and couldn't find the right answer.
The girl's mother died, but years ago I had had an affair with her. We had no feelings. I only now found out about the consequences. I found out that because of the pendant I gave Nancy many years ago, and now you have it. I did a DNA test. Here are the results. Kate is my biological daughter.
The man showed his wife the results of the test. Bridget took the paper, read it, sighed, and muttered.
The affair was short-lived and without feeling? You gave her that pendant, and that poor woman was abandoned by you, and died with that pendant. And I knew nothing. Does Kate look like her? She doesn't look much like you. Did you recognize her just by her appearance?
No, maybe I felt something. I don't know. And I didn't know that she was pregnant. She left me when she realized I wasn't going to leave you. That's the way it was. I hope you forgive me. Don't be silent. Say something, worried Patrick.
What can I say? How can I trust you now? How can I believe that it only happened once? Maybe there are other children living in other orphanages.
No, that's impossible. There was only Nancy, and that was it. Believe me, it's true.
Bridget took the pendant off her neck, put it on the table, and stood up.
I'm sorry. I need to be alone to think about it.
Yes, sure. I hope you take it the right way,
her husband said hopefully as he watched his wife leave for the bedroom. Bridget was offended to the core. Her husband had deceived her all of these years, even in the most difficult period of her life, and now he had a daughter with another woman, and the fact that she is dead doesn't change anything. And anything Patrick says about that relationship doesn't matter. He cheated on her, and the consequences were serious. How will the three of them live together? Father, daughter, and her, a stranger. They can declare their love for Bridget, but she will know that she is a stranger to her husband and her child.
I'm just sort of a babysitter for someone else's child,
The woman thought confusedly.
Yes, it was a long time ago, but where's the guarantee that he only had Nancy? How do I know he's not cheating on me now? How do I know that when the next mistress gets pregnant, he won't leave me? I'm barren. I'm getting old. So what? Do I have to live serving this family and expect to be stabbed in the back all the time?
Kate came home from school and immediately sensed the tension between her parents and asked Patrick,
Dad, did you and Mom have a fight?
No, Mom was just a little upset because of me. It's very complicated, he replied to his daughter. The little girl tried to find out what was happened.
Mommy, what's wrong? Why are you sitting alone in the room, not talking to us? Sweetheart, I'm afraid I have to live apart from you and Daddy. It doesn't mean anything. You and I will still be together because I love you more than anyone else,
Bridget replied, holding back her tears. The girl understood it differently and began to worry, asking if everything was okay.
Are you sick? Are you going to the hospital? What happened to you? Tell me. How long will it take? No, I'm fine. I'm just going to live separately. We'll see each other as often as you want. It's very hard for me now. I don't know how to explain everything to you,
the woman answered with difficulty. It was hard to explain this to her husband, too, but the offended woman said bluntly,
You know, Patrick, cheating is unforgivable. I don't want to live with you after what happened. Stay with Kate. That would be the right thing to do. You and Kate are family, and I'm a stranger. I have no place in your house.
No matter how hard Patrick tried to change his wife's mind, no matter how much Kate cried, and she didn't even understand anything, Bridget filed for divorce and moved to a rented apartment. She did not cut off her relationship with her daughter. Their relationship did not get any worse. Bridget and Kate still loved each other tenderly, seeing each other often and spending time together. Kate tried her best to reconcile Mom and Dad, and soon they began to spend time together as a family, the three of them. At first, the former spouses were distant. They were resentful towards each other, but gradually the ice between them melted away. They both knew that it was not only their past that bound them together, but also their future. This feeling was stronger than resentment, so after 3 years apart, Patrick said,
Bridget, I want to propose to you. Let's get married again. Kate and I are having a hard time without you, and it's a lot harder for me than it is for her.
Bridget said yes, and soon the former spouses got married again and made their vows of fidelity to each other.